And welcome, everybody. We are back with the CBC podcast. This time, we're probably going to have somewhat of a shorter show. We're actually recording this a day late, hours after we typically do it. Look, the normal day we recorded, we got together, we're like, how can there be nothing to talk about? There was nothing.
Yep. There really wasn't. And the weird thing about this week is that most of the Super Bowl ads have been premiering on the web.
Yeah.
Earlier than their
I saw that. That's weird.
Well, that's like a thing, and we'll also talk about that. But like, The Rock confirmed, he's like, "Oh, we're just gonna drop a giant trailer for all our films this year before the Super Bowl." It's like, oh, okay, cool, okay, DC. Well, we'll see how this goes. Times are changing, I guess, but there's gonna be a couple things to talk about here because luckily, literally over the course of the 24 hours, we didn't do anything. We have a couple topics worth talking about. So, as always, I am your host, Armin, and I am joined this week by Tristan.
Hey guys, we're doing it a little bit later, but
yeah,
you can catch me at SJChance on Twitter.
And also by Mitch.
What's up? You can follow me on Twitter at 692tweets. And that was weird. You did it back to front.
So see, I figured this out because I wrote myself a note. I had to introduce you second to mention that you joined our buddy Jared over on his show to talk about the Book of Boba Fett.
Like I literally went to start talking. It's like, and Tristan. I'm like, okay.
You're like midway into gain my breath.
I was surprised.
My brain literally panicked. I'm like, what's going on? It's different. Skype changes. The intro changes. I don't like change.
This is it now. This is what we're doing. But yeah, guys. Again, you guys can find. I'm assuming you guys had a pretty big conversation on the Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, we had an hour and a half talk about the Book of Boba Fett.
Okay, that is perfect. I will, of course, leave a link. It's going to pop up in one of the little things that pops up on YouTube and in the description. You guys can go follow Jared and his podcast on there. And there's all sorts of discussions I've been on. Mitch has been on. We've had other people on there that have also come on here. So it's, all sorts of discussions. And it's generally mostly positive Star Wars talk over there, so that's always why it's good to check that out. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. And speaking of all sorts of stuff, boy, let's just get into our first topic here because we got so typically Disney investors calls, you get things that are like, hey, we're working on this film or this TV series, but now Disney has decided to look, the investors call are going to be for the investors. And it's only like the financials. We don't care about announcing or teasing anything because we got that for our trade shows now, right? Like, their presentations and all that, which I do appreciate. So the investors call came and went. And the only big piece of news we got at it is like, and I don't think anybody really expected anything else, but Bob Chapek, the guy, CEO of Disney, confirmed that if you look at their big heads of all their big studios, Marvel Studios, Lucasfilms, whatever else, they have all recently re-signed or negotiated a brand new extensive contracts to stay on in their same position. So Kevin Feige, he's not going anywhere. Kathleen Kennedy, she's not going anywhere. Other people like Brad Winderbaum, who's been taking over Marvel TV, Marvel Studios TV and such, not going anywhere. Essentially, what he said is, you guys were afraid of me changing things up and cutting costs. And we even saw going into this investors call, people were trying to say they're going to sell off their stock if he's not removed or if he changes too much. He just came out and said, I'm not going to do anything. We're just going to operate the same way we have because it's worked. So, I mean, any surprise here? Any surprise at all?
Not really. No, I didn't expect anyone to leave, but I assume with how old Paycheck has been operating and how he operates, and especially the whole controversy with
being cheap,
like ScarJo and all that.
Yeah.
I imagine these people got a bit more what they want. I reckon is a couple of zeros on the end of everything and a bit more security in how they want to operate.
100%.
Whether I also imagine to some extent, I say some extent, the day and date, like Premiere Access, stuff's probably completely dead now.
Yeah.
I reckon I can see that being a part of it, which for me is unfortunate. I think that should have been handled a lot better than it was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's really weird because at first they were doing it, and now it's just this will have a theatrical release. This won't, and it's really like odd, especially for their animated stuff.
Yeah.
Mainly Pixar.
Yeah. I don't know what they have against
if they
Pixar.
signed or not. I assume the head of Pixar is still staying.
I would assume. Like, I mean, no matter what, at the end of the day, Disney was probably like, look, what happened was nobody could have predicted that. So we had to change rapidly and huge shifts were made. But in the end, they paid off because we've seen the numbers for some of those things that went to streaming for Disney. I mean, those things were huge. So I would assume everybody pretty much stayed. I have already seen people saying, and this was a given, this was going to happen. It's like, well, Kathleen Kennedy re-signed now, but I guarantee she's leaving the next time. Bro, she's close to 70 years old. Of course she's going to be gone in 3 to 5 years. Like, come on. Like, and that's the thing. Some of these people are going to literally end their like jobs and careers here. Like, that's how they're doing it. They're kind of looking at everything like that. I assume this is just me taking a stab at it, but Kevin Feige probably is going to have more creative over greenlighting more things. Just, it
wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's like, it's their biggest money, draw. It's Marvel. Like, what else? What are you going to do? Tell them no? Like, oh no, Feige, you can't have an extra $200 million to produce 4 Disney Plus shows. We're going to give that to Tomorrowland 2. No.
I think this is the longest Chapek's actually looked at anything he's ever done.
Legit though.
He's actually, instead of looking in 5 months' time, he's looked in 5 years' time. Actually,
that's a good way to put it, though. That's a good way.
He's put his glasses on for once. He's no longer short-sighted.
I'd like to also assume in this deal, Kevin Feige probably was like, "Hey, let me do my Star Wars thing." Hopes of that.
I mean, I assume that was always going to happen anyway.
Same. Yeah.
Like, we've heard nothing about that since.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Well, Star Wars. I mean, look.
I say it's in line with everything else, Star Wars.
Apparently, this year we're getting Endor season 1, and they're going to start shooting season 2. Dude,
Endor or Andor?
Andor is that what it is? With an A?
It's Andor,
Yeah. Like, bro, that was the first series they announced along with The Mandalorian. What?
Yeah.
What is happening?
But now we're getting 2 seasons of it.
Yeah, and the first season sounds like it's 12 episodes as it is. Like, what is this? Why?
I'm fully convinced they've cut the season into 2.
I could see that. Yeah.
It's like, hey, we couldn't finish this in the pandemic because we should have started earlier. Let's just do the 6, put out the 6 we have, and then we can do the 6 later on.
Yeah. Well, guess we'll find out soon. So look, everything's staying the same at Disney. That's kind of the takeaway. This time we're going to have less Q&As just because of the nature of the shorter show. But as always, John Morris asks, and this is a good one with all the recent hype up to the multiverse and everything. He says, with the MCU most likely planning to do Secret Wars in a few years, could that mean Marvel Comics could do a reboot in the comics?
No.
They haven't done it yet.
Marvel don't reboot.
Yeah, I think... Look, this isn't an insult at DC, but it kind of can be taken that way. But I think every single mistake you could take from trying to reboot a universe and then backpedaling over 3 times over the course of a decade was learned from New 52.
Yeah. So far, one thing that Marvel's ever done is just reshuffle things and retcon things to try and make everything fit.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally the only thing they've ever done. Yeah, they've never rebooted, and I don't think they ever will.
Now, I will personally say, it's not an if, when they do the next Secret Wars in the comics, because make no mistake, they will do it to line up with whenever the film is coming. They always do. I would not mind if they fracture or split the universe, or guess what? We can reboot the universe and it's a clean slate and we'll restart, because by then the Ultimates will be like 30 years old. So it's like, we could probably bring that imprint back and do it fresh from the ground up. But I don't think you reboot the proper 616, because, I mean, that there's just no need for that. I think they've kind of proven that they don't need that. They can always just retcon and go, oh yeah, this happened. Take it or leave it. You're like, okay, just kind of scale the timeline.
I mean, like 616 became the Ultimate line because it just absorbed all the ideas from the Ultimate line, and it made the 616 characters act like that for the most part.
So that is that's kind of that. So I think we're all in agreement. No, probably no reboot.
No, you'll still get people who, because people think it now that Secret Wars is a reboot.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
And like the All New War Different is a reboot. It's like, no, it's not.
It's
nothing. Reboot is starting from scratch.
Yeah. They kind of just soft reboot and reshuffle. They're like, and here we are. Things.
I mean, even soft reboot is a bit of a stretch, but it's probably it's more accurate than a full-on hard reboot.
Yeah.
Because everything still happened. It's just
it's a status quo shift.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. So our second topic. This will be DC's biggest year ever when it comes to film and TV. We're seeing right now, they're ending their first ever shared universe film to TV. Peacemaker's coming to an end. The Batman is coming up. We got 3 more films going towards the end of the year. We got Black Adam. We got Aquaman. We got Flash. Superman and Lois continues to be like the best Superman they've ever done. Like, they're adding more shows. They're going to be shooting more DCEU content. This is definitely shaping up to literally be like the most important year of DC ever, because they're in the middle of a sale. Like WB. We've now recently got those reports about the gaming division. WB is set to lose all rights to Lord of the Rings, like even gaming.
Well, they've lost them, haven't they?
Well, now fully by the sounds of it. Like, it's just going to be gone.
Yeah, because I think it was they put up the rights to the video game rights to it, and they set it to like $2 billion, with Amazon being first in line to buy the rights.
So isn't it the games and the movie rights?
Yep. It's pretty much everything Lord of the Rings, which, again, I think now more than ever, WB looks at DC and goes, oh no, we only got like this and Harry Potter, and guess what? The other thing is so tainted that we're legit worried about the future of that franchise, because nobody wants to talk about it because the creator of it. So it's like, well, now you got DC, and you've screwed that into the ground so hard that this year is, I think, a make it or break it point for everything they got going. Because, like, imagine if out of the 4 big films, imagine if like 2 flop. And I still think, the Batman's going to be a success. Black Adam, it's The Rock, so moderate success, I would assume, to huge. The Flash, I hope nostalgia sells. I hope that Batman can sell it, because The Flash ain't going to sell it. And Aquaman, there's going to be some backlash there. It remains to be seen how it does. I assume it's going to do good, but I don't know if maybe people are worn out over the first film. And this year, this December, we're seeing the release of Aquaman literally about a week and a half apart from Avatar 2, and they're both underwater spectacles, and it's going to be interesting to see how they battle it out. I'm intrigued by this year. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on, so what do you guys think?
Yeah, it's the battle of the sequels that I'm not sure if anyone really cares about.
Yeah.
It's an odd one to have, and the fact that they're both underwater is weird. But
now,
I don't know, Aquaman's one of those ones where, like, yes, the first one did like insanely well, but I really don't know if people give a crap about a sequel.
You know what I've kind of seen, and if you look at the pattern of impressions in social media buzz, I want you to go look it up for yourself, because I'm not making this up. Compare the hype buildup, the release, and the drop off and the sequel talk of Aquaman to Aquaman 2 to Venom Let There Be Carnage. It is the exact same pattern to the beat. It is kind of scary. Like, and it does have that initial drop off. And again, Venom Let There Be Carnage did do good, but they lost China.
Very well.
Yeah, they lost China, and they, that was a major factor. And we don't know if people, in regards to the Amber Heard thing, how that's going to be handled. So there is a bunch of things going on in there that I think could be a big deal. But again, we just got to wait and see.
I'm not going to be surprised if it does do well. Same with Avatar. Avatar is Avatar's one of those where it's like in fact, so is Aquaman. I really don't know how people are going to respond to that movie in the slightest. But
so I had like that sort of epiphany moment that I'm a nerd, and that's not the epiphany, but it's I'm a nerd that knows stuff, right? And like the people around me know some stuff, but maybe the people around them don't. So my wife, she had a couple family members. They just came up and they were visiting, and I was like in the living room and I'm playing a video game, and wife calls out. She's like, "Hey, they like all the shows. What's some of the stuff coming out this year?" And I was like, "Well, there's the Lord of the Rings series," and they're like, "Oh, that's cool. That's going to be awesome." I'm like, "Yeah." And then I'm like listing off a couple things they might like, and I'm like, "Oh, the Game of Thrones prequel." Suddenly there was this deafening noise of, like how when people cheer. No, like it was the opposite. It was like how when people cheer when something happens in a film. These were the people that they don't complain about the ending. They watched it because they liked it, and they're not like, "Oh, this is how I would have fan fiction my perfect ending." It was suddenly like, "There's a new Game of Thrones." So I brought up the quick, little snippets and trailers they showed. I've never seen people react how we react to new announcements of MCU and stuff. Like suddenly, like Game of Thrones is back. These people are all in. They're like, when do I gotta do my HBO subscription? I need to know about this. I was like, well, okay, I guess Game of Thrones is still relevant. Like, I don't. To me, it's like
I don't see anyone talk, even when something's released about those prequels.
Same. I never see anybody.
Nothing. The only thing I think people talk about is how bad the ending was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was surprised that there's so many people that are just like, "There's more. Oh, I'll take more." I'm like, okay, I guess there's something here. So WB does have some good stuff this year, but I do think it's legit all down to DC. And unfortunately, I know some people are gonna get mad at me. Nobody cares about Peacemaker. Nobody talks like literally nobody I know has watched the series besides people in our group, and it's like 2 people that talk about it. I just
when the first 3 dropped, I had a few people on Twitter talk about it. Yep. It's been nothing since.
Same.
Absolutely nothing.
And again, it's like the Suicide Squad did the same thing. I think the interest in that thing just died because the first film, yes, people went and saw it, but they had their fill and they did not want more. So I really hope something can happen here. I'm personally just going to bet on the Batman being the best thing DC does this year. I'm just sorry that'll upset
what
some
the
people
ticket sales like for that? Because I know they've dropped. I know tickets are on sale now, but I haven't seen anything about. Like you normally see, oh, I got my tickets. I've only seen like 3 people.
So
I haven't seen
the thing that was weird here is like Shay, my wife, she texted me. She's like, "Oh, the tickets are on sale. Hurry up and get them." I was like, "Oh, when they go on sale?" She's like, "Looks like a day ago." I was like, "Oh, okay." It went on sale at midnight when they're supposed to. I went to check our, big first showing, which I typically do. There was 1 seat sold, and it's 36 hours after. I was like, "Oh, like," and again, I'm talking about films like The Suicide Squad had more, like even other film, even Dune had more in this theater, and like I went through and just kind of searched, Batman on Facebook just to see if any of my friends are talking about their tickets. Only 2, and they're the ones that got the IMAX early 3-day thing. Nobody else. I'm kind of weirded out by it because you think there'd be that big buzz, but nothing.
I wonder. I wonder. I think that's purely down to the fact that they announced the ticket sale date way before.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's been nothing on it since, which I find really odd. Like, you always hype up the day it's been released.
Yeah, it's very strange. I don't know. Maybe like it's just the bubble I'm in. But again, I'm friends with a lot of people who Batman is their thing. Like, that is their character. And nothing. So I don't know. Like, anytime you talk about DC, it's always a weird thing because it's always bubbles.
Yeah, it's hard to gauge.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And we've seen that even in regards to box office, because like 6 weeks ago, or no, like 6 weeks prior to the release, so about 3 weeks ago, the box office was 40 to 100 million. A week ago, 140 to 250 million opening weekend. I'm like, who? How? Like 250 on a high end for Batman? Look.
Yeah, I'd like to know where that's coming from.
Yeah, like even 200 million I would find hard to believe. Like, where is this?
I mean, maybe it's because my last 2 weeks have just been nosing the Switch playing Monster Hunter, and I've just completely blocked out everything from the outside world.
That's fair enough.
I haven't seen a lot of this stuff, but that's wild to me. Like,
yeah. So that's kind of it. So that's, look, once we see the trailers, we'll come back and talk about them next week, and we'll talk a little bit more about what goes on with pretty much the entire future of WB. And so let's take another Q&A here, and this one is a little bit longer. It's from Daniel Barba, and I'm just going to kind of cut down to it because it is like a paragraph, but essentially, the spell that Doctor Strange cast, could that be some sort of way that something like this could have been used with the mutants? I mean,
well, like, I mean, like,
some
bring
sort
them to this.
or that they've existed.
No,
but
basically, what he's asking is, if you go off that old fan theory that Charles Xavier's making everyone forget,
yeah,
it's just like, hey, Doctor Strange did a similar thing. Like, could it have been done? Sure,
yeah.
There's a world where it was, but I don't know if that's the direction they go.
Could you imagine they bring back Tilda Swinton to play, the Sorcerer Supreme in a flashback? And they're like, what did you do? She's like, so you know how I was like the worst Sorcerer Supreme ever, literally doing all the illegal things? I also cast a spell daily to make everybody forget mutants exist. It's like, bro, how were you allowed to keep this job? Like,
I'll just do Xavier a favor, so.
It's, I mean, they could do it, but I think stylistically, when it comes to the story, that would be too lazy. Right? Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, that's just lazy writing. It's like, just say they were forgotten. It's like, like, it's kind of like lands like a dud. Like, all right, like, I don't know.
No, it's not like Eternals where it's like, yeah, if they've gone into hiding for thousands of years and blended in, things get lost to myth and legend all the time.
Right.
I think mutants would be too new of a thing for. But then I don't know. I think I'm too stuck thinking that I actively hate they've been here the entire time. Everyone just forgot because of magic or powers thing. Like, they're from the multiverse. I just actively hate those ideas.
It's
like,
the one thing,
not that I've got anything better, but it's
yeah, and it's the one thing that people know, because people know I love First Class and that whole idea. The whole idea that Matthew Vaughn brought in because of budget scale and restrictions was, what if the mutants slowly expanded, in the 1900s, and then they were these government operatives that were kept close and they buried their stuff and they weren't really prominent, which is why that worked with the budget. And he always likes doing spy stuff anyway in organizations, so it fit what they were doing with the Fox stuff, which is kind of why it doesn't make sense when you go to Days of Future Past and they're just everywhere again because they changed directors and went back to Singer again. You could technically say, there's always been a couple mutants in the history of the MCU. Yeah, Logan, he fought during World War II. We just didn't show it to you because he was on the Pacific Front or something. You could do that, but to suddenly say, guess what? There was 10 million mutants, and every day there was a spell or something. I feel that cheapens the whole story and approach. Just to me, it's.
Yeah, because then what stops the spell?
And he actually has that here. And that's another part of paragraph right at the bottom. He says, what if the spell got weakened or affected in everything that happens with Loki and No Way Home and Wanda and everything, which again, you could technically do that. Like, that's actually a great way. You could be like, actually, that did do everything. But then the moment that I thought of that, my brain was like, but then how did they explain Deadpool? Because Deadpool 3 will be an MCU film. So it's like, oh, boy, Deadpool is just another headache on top of everything, I feel.
Mutants are a mistake. Just straight up, they're a mistake.
Racist! What? I'm clipping that, bro. I got you now.
I was gonna make a joke on it. There's no way I'm saying that on the internet. People will absolutely like take that out of context.
Of course.
It's just like, oh, well, yeah. It's I really don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how they handle it. I don't envy them for having to do it in the slightest. But
yeah,
they will show up in some way, and I get why there's these ideas, because World War II is very much a catalyst moment for mutants.
It is, yeah.
So I don't know how you quite get around that, but then again, it's like you don't have to get around it. It's like, oh yeah, Logan's been around since Victorian eras.
Yeah,
Magneto just slowly ages. No one questions it with Captain Marvel.
It's true.
It's like, oh yeah, this woman's like pushing her 60s, yet she looks late 20s, early 30s. It's totally fine. No one's going to question it.
Blood transfusion. It turns out Brie Larson actually transfused a bunch of Kree blood because she's such a terrible human.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's all the white men. No.
Oh, she's siphoning the power of white privilege?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense too. That checks out. I've seen that on the internet.
She just has like the boomers in the academy just like hooked up to a drip.
Amazing. This is good headcanon stuff right here. So yeah, look, I guess we'll kind of have a hint towards MCU's handling of mutants soon with X-Men 97 coming. We'll see what they do there, and then we'll see what they do next with live action. So.
If they use that cartoon in any way, shape, or form to like as a reference point for the MCU, that's going to be wild.
I would be,
and I think a bit of a mistake.
Oh yeah. But hey, we'll know soon, guys. We'll know. Boy, what a February it's turning out to be for Marvel, because it is officially now a couple years since the last Netflix shows were canceled that were based on Marvel, and March 1st is officially when all the licenses expire. Netflix's contract for distribution of Marvel shows that were produced by Disney and ABC is up, and those shows now are showing up as leaving Netflix on March 1st. So
now I saw this morning like every other person on the planet. It appears to only be in Europe.
So I looked into this,
or at least the European regions are getting the message.
Yeah,
when you watch it.
There's been a couple of other international territories saying the same thing, and there is an interesting sort of, how do I put this? Contractual, I guess, point to be made here, because individual area contracts and distributions are, again, per location. Geographically, the U.S. contract does not affect the U.K. and everything, right? So they're all over the place. How Disney handled distribution of ABC shows to Netflix in Europe and other international territories, like Australia, for example, is different, yet handled by the same people for the United States. So the United States could have some sort of longer run, but in the end, they also will lose it. But we don't know when. It could be on March 1st, and it just hasn't updated on the system, or it could be the month after. We don't know. But in general, the license is set to expire this year. At some point, it will all expire this year. We know that for a fact. So,
I just want to take this moment to say I told literally everybody that they were going to lose these shows.
Yep. I remember us talking about that when they started pulling other shows off of Netflix, and we're like, guys, go look at the original announcment. Produced by Disney and ABC, Netflix is the distributor who had nothing to do with them. Literally nothing other than where you put them. Like, what? I mean, It was literally there in the writing. And I think this does have huge implications on the future of this content, because now, let's say we get to Echo. If they need a flashback to an event from Daredevil, they can use that footage now. Legally, they can. Because they own it. They couldn't do that in Hawkeye because it was still Netflix contractual footage exclusively there. So this brings up all sorts of new possibilities and what they could be doing with all these things and where they even go. Because international territories, they will be on Disney Plus. That's a fact.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But, United States, we over here are afraid of everything, apparently. So we have to send it to other subsidiary networks and not on Disney Plus for whatever reason. So here, who knows what they do, but probably.
I wouldn't be surprised if Disney Plus gets anyway.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Yeah.
There's a couple of shows I think going on Disney Plus for you lot, and I can't think what they are. But it's more like adult orientated.
There is, yeah. I've noticed that as well. They pop up. And there's some of those Fox movies as well and TV shows where I'm like, well, I wouldn't think that would make it on there, but okay, like clearly did. So, yeah, it's.
I say the only thing with this is I'd be surprised if they can just pick up where they left off going forward.
Yeah.
Like, I think the season 4 script they had for Daredevil, I don't think you're gonna be able to use that. I reckon there'll still be some contractual thing that's like, hey, this was our thing, you can't use that.
Yeah, and also the people that worked on it and all those teams, like whatever contracts they're bound for and who you would have to get back.
Like, could they get the same people back? No, absolutely.
Oh, totally.
To be honest. Not that I know when they do it, but I'd be very surprised if they're not like, hey, yeah, we're going to rejigger season 4 and go on from there.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously you can't just straight up do the season 4 they had, because a lot of stuff's changed now that they're actually part of everything, but you can still use and reference what came before.
Exactly. And again, you don't have to worry about legality or mentioning or having to, dance around the footage. And it's like, no, it's just, here it is. We can openly mention all of it now. So that's kind of the advantage in there, like I like the possibilities now. And I suppose we'll find out more soon, because it's going to be one of those things where by the end of this year, when Echo is in production, we're starting to hear things, and we're probably going to be like, wait a minute, is the guy that's playing Bullseye back? Oh, look, he's on set. Well, okay, I guess we're going to pick up that plot thread now. It's kind of going to be that type of moment. It's like, well, there we go. So
I really hope they don't turn Echo into Book of Boba Fett. It's like, hey, he's Daredevil.
Echo just sits there. She's like, I need to put together a crew. And then it's just the rest of Daredevil. And then the last episode, she's just like, okay, now I'm involved in an action sequence for an hour.
Let me sit this episode out. It's cool.
Oh, yeah. It's probably going to be part that. Let's be real. But
yeah, I'm expecting it.
But Marvel Studios will handle it way better, because.
I got more faith in that.
I just hope Echo, when there's I don't know, Bullseye coming down the street throwing things at her, that she does a cool spin move and throws something at him. Spin move in slow mo. I
laugh, but I hate how that's like the thing everyone's talking about.
I love one of my friends text messages me after watching the series. He was like, so, isn't Robert Rodriguez one of your favorite directors of all time? I replied with a question mark, and I'm going to block you if you continue this conversation. He hasn't replied.
It's like, that scene is bad when Ed Boon is making fun of it.
Oh, man, what a... Whoa.
It's just like, out of everything, it's like, why is people picking up on... have we forgotten what Palpatine done? No. Yeah. At least this guy in Book of Boba Fett was like, there's a shot hitting the wall behind him after he stopped spinning. Like, what was Palpatine doing?
Mm-hmm.
Doing flips and stuff.
Yeah. All sorts.
It's just so weird. It's a weird discourse going on around it.
It is. Well, You know what? We're gonna find out the future of whatever Marvel Studios is planning with all these things soon, and if there's gonna be useless flips and things happening for no reason, and like new Marvel content. We'll be back to talk about it sooner rather than later. So, when these shows officially drop and where they go, when we get official updates, we'll talk more about it. So stay tuned, everybody, because this will be one of those stories that continues to just kind of develop as we go and as more and more things return to Marvel. And speaking
watch it take 2 years for these shows to go on Disney Plus. It's just like, okay, everything's
there's a buffer period. Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to take our last question here for this week from Planet Smarf. And he asks, for Iron Fist being adapted to the MCU, would you rather a show or a movie? And if so, which runs would you want to see adapted? Now, obviously, Iron Fist is one of those characters that hopefully can get a proper chance.
Yeah. Funny thing you say about that was what they're currently doing with Iron Fist now. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look, people, if you're followed us, if you know me, you know Iron Fist, Danny Rand, one of my absolute favorites of all time. Like literally my favorite Marvel Comics run is the Immortal Iron Fist. But I will be the first to tell you that I am ready to see Danny not be the Iron Fist, and I hope it's a MCU series. And I hope if they're going to bring back Finn Jones for whatever reason, you bring him back to pass on the role and the Iron Fist to a new Iron Fist who hopefully can be Asian, because I like that they're going to do that in the comics, and I'm cool with that.
That's the thing for me anyway. Is if they're going to do that, or they're going to do it the comic book way, where it just goes back to the dragon, and whoever deserves it gets it again.
They are not going to touch that show and that iteration with a 10-foot barge pole.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean, well, it's in the comics where it just goes back to the dragon.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying, like, I don't think you're gonna have to worry about that because they're gonna start that character again.
And you could even dance around that by being like the former Iron Fist, Danny Rand. He lost the power. That literally in the lore of Iron Fist, when you reach a certain age, you die. Like they come after you and kill you, and then the power goes back to the dragon, and somebody else has got to become it. You could literally say, be like, Danny Rand, no more. Somebody's got to become the Iron Fist, and you could base a show on that in one of the pocket dimensions, which they clearly talk about in Shang-Chi to an extent that's all Iron Fist lore, and just go from there. And I think you just kind of pick up that and do it properly. And I don't think you have to adapt anything specific from the Immortal Iron Fist run or anything. You just kind of make a good Iron Fist story. That's all it really is.
Which is just interesting to me, because I kind of forgot is that we did see a dragon in Shang-Chi.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like
two.
It's not like it's not like it's gonna be a weird thing seeing another dragon in the Marvel universe.
Yep. And I think there is a really cool story to tell about a training academy just set in a pocket dimension where you're training this new generation to see who could become the Iron Fist. You could put a tournament in there and make it very interesting. You could talk about some of the other cool Iron Fist characters that exist. Like, there's a lot of possibilities here to make a unique series that's different.
Yeah, and get some cool flashbacks with previous Iron Fist too.
Yep. Oh, I would love that. Give us some flashbacks to Orson in the World War. Yeah.
They'll do it properly.
Yeah, they will. Yes, they will. They'll do it right. And again, as somebody that didn't outright hate the Netflix show, look, Finn Jones is probably one of the nicest celebrities I've ever met and got to talk to.
Incredibly lazy.
Yeah, man. And he was, bro, like, he would not get up from behind his desk for most people, but he was like, okay, this guy's just up as Daredevil. I'll go and hang out and talk to him. And then we talked at the after party, and he was really cool. But like, yeah, no, I don't think you bring him back. That feels like that would be a detriment to the series, honestly, or whatever they do. Yeah.
You can pick up kind of where you left off with that. Mm-hmm. But you just go like, hey, Danny Rand's Asian American now, and we're going to go from here. And a similar thing happened to the Netflix series, but that's non-existent, and we're just going to carry on from here.
Yeah.
Like, I think you honestly, you come out here and be like, yeah, Daredevil and Jessica Jones are the only canon ones.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with all that. So there you go. Thank you for the Q&A. We'll be back next week with more. I will have the question put up for a member section, so make sure you guys leave some, and I have a couple more left over that we'll touch upon. But our final topic. At this point, we've had so many leaks for Doctor Strange that it's hard to see which ones are true, which ones are false. Tom Cruise, 100%. Tobey Maguire seems to be more or less confirmed. Everybody's like, yeah, it's probably happening. This week, Rob Liefeld was being interviewed, and he was like, well, I've seen some of those leaks. Yeah, they're real. And also, there's some other stuff out there that's real as well. He wouldn't exactly explain which ones, but...
funny, that, isn't it?
Yeah. Hasn't he done that before where he says he knows some things and he never says what it is?
Guess what? Never happened. No.
Oh. So, most people that I've seen, because he said, oh, there's other leaks out there that are true, but I can't say what it is. The ones that people automatically jump to is the one he would have to be credited for, and that's Deadpool. Because it's like, if he's in there, they would have to credit him, like legally. And if they didn't and they used Deadpool, even in a cameo, he could sue the movie into the ground. You know, he's talked about that before.
Wasn't there a thing with the Cub Vance creator recently about not being credited? Despite being in...
That was such a weird thing, and I don't even know how that happened, honestly. And it could be the whole digital creation rights now, which the contracts are so different nowadays, where you don't even have to be credited in a weird way. But we know Liefeld's connection to Deadpool is so... Look, it's the only thing the dude has, right? Like, that is it.
He's got his NFT.
Yeah.
And his Kickstarters that he doesn't bother giving out the Kickstarter rewards too.
Oh, that sounds about right.
Yeah. It's... I don't know, like... I'm going to guess if there's anything that Liefeld is connected to, it will be a Deadpool cameo. That's the only thing I could see. I don't think there's much else. Maybe a Cable one could work, but...
I'm a firm believer that he's absolutely, yet again, talking out of his ass and has no clue what they're doing.
I mean, that's a Liefeld as anything as he's ever done, so...
You know, like, we just had Hawkeye, where you had... I can never remember the artist's name from the Fraction.
You know, Aja, is it? I can't remember.
Aha, or something like that. I can't remember. It's you know, like, not even getting paid would have only if you know, they don't even have to talk to these people about using their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So why would they ever talk to Liefeld?
Yeah,
they don't. Liefeld couldn't even get in on the ground floor with the Fox stuff. Why would Feige ever go to Life? I don't get it. But...
yeah, it's
like, are there going to be some cameos from the Fox stuff? At this point, I'm convinced, yes, we are going to get some Fox stuff. But I don't think Liefeld knows what the hell he's talking about.
No, I'm convinced he probably knows a little thing or two, but I don't think he knows anything more than most people.
I may butcher the name for the artist, but it's David Aja.
Okay, so it was Aja. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I thought it was something like that. It's just like pronunciation and all that. I can't.
The crediting rights to everything are very weird, and as you said, like, Liefeld has literally been out there being like, "Let me share this art of beheaded Disney people."
Yeah.
What are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
Like,
what? And we wonder why they're like, oh, based on characters from Marvel Comics or DC Comics. Like, we wonder why this stuff's happening now.
Yeah. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. All these guys get a special thanks. No.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're Matt Fraction, then you get the executive producer role.
Yeah, you got Papa Fraction treatment. That makes sense. So Doctor Strange 2, I'm actually shocked that we are like 2 months out and we've had so little in terms of big leaks. Like, when it comes to Spider-Man, we knew Oh yeah, you know what? There is kind of a big.
There's about 3 or 4 different versions of the entire plot on like Reddit and 4chan right now. It's
Yeah.
kind of wild.
And you gotta, pick and choose, I guess, which ones you believe. But again, we've seen this before, so it's gonna be interesting to see.
It happened with Spider-Man. I think it happened with Endgame as well. Like the plot is out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the plot, like for Spider-Man, the plot was out there. I think was it in July?
In July, yeah. Like Endgame was out there a week after Infinity War. It's kind of these people they got some big ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, Doctor Strange. I imagine. I read a plot leak about a month ago. I think at this point, or maybe like 3 weeks. And the more you look at the stuff we've seen of it, you're like, that kind of adds up.
Yeah.
Like, all of that adds up. That fits. So I think I know the plot for that movie already, but
yeah, I think the big thing is just going to be like the surprise cameos at this point, right? Which that's like mostly going to be visual effects and things that are handled there, and however they decide to throw whoever in there. But overall, whatever happens with these leaks, I just want a good film. We said that for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like we were saying it, Spider-Man, for all we know, could have been a complete disaster with how many things were going on. So we got lucky that it wasn't, and that's always a chance.
If Multiverse of Madness can take the cameos are in service of the plot, not the plot in service of the cameos approach that No Way Home took, we have nothing to worry about. It's going to be absolutely fine, and hopefully beyond that. But it's at least going to be a good movie.
Yeah,
I think with No Way Home, they've shown the approach they're taking to all this sort of stuff. So I've got no qualms anymore.
Yeah, same. So overall, whatever leaks are out there, but choose if you believe them or not. But the ones that are confirmed, like 100% confirmed, is Tom Cruise. That is.
I fully believe those set leaks.
If those are leaks, then my God, like they got a problem in there. And if those are fakes, well, I mean, if you're gonna put those through photo analysis, unless somebody's really good at faking all sorts of depth and thing and not leave any trace behind, that's pretty good as well. But hey, I mean, we'll find out soon. Doctor Strange is almost here.
We got the Super Bowl on Sunday, so I imagine we're gonna get. If we don't get a trailer or anything for Doctor Strange, I'm gonna be stunned.
I mean, it would make sense if they do a teaser trailer and then reveal full trailer coming Monday, like that.
The teaser trailer is what we got with No Way Home.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, oh yeah, that is a teaser trailer technically. Yeah. So I guess 30-second spot and full trailer on Monday would kind of work. I mean,
possibly, yeah.
Whatever it is, we're going to talk about it. I mean,
oh yeah. I mean, fingers crossed it's a full trailer. I think he desperately needs one at this point.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Unless this film features so many cameos that they know people are ready for it and they can hide it like Spider-Man, this trailer is going to need to drop something that gets everybody talking.
So is the Brazilian one going to have Shumagorath be kicked by an invisible thing?
It's just an invisible floating chain, but they CG'd out the bike and Ghost Rider. It's like, what's that chain doing spinning? Amazing. That'll be amazing. Well,
it's just an empty Iron Man armor. They just CGI'd Cruise's face out.
Hey, look, it's AI Tony.
Yep.
Oh no! Imagine. I mean, in fairness, if they wanted to hide anything, if there is an Iron Man variant in this, and why wouldn't there be at this point? If they just had the face blue, I wouldn't be mad.
Honestly.
And then the movie comes around, it's actually Tom Cruise's head. That's perfectly fine.
What I would hope they do is throw everybody off, show us Iron Man, and as the faceplate lifts up, reveal Benedict Cumberbatch in there. And make everybody think he's a variant, and then when we see it, it's Tom Cruise, and everybody's like, "Whoa." And then people can have the hot takes. The trailer lied. Why? Oh, I hate it.
We just circle back to 2019 again, or 2018.
Yep, exactly. It's all the way back to it. So, look, trailer's dropping soon, so we'll talk about it. There we go. That's brought us to the end of the show. I probably said this was going to be shorter, but I think it ended up being right on par with a normal episode. So,
Oh wow, it was about 50 minutes.
Yeah. Well,
Kind of what?
it is what it is at this point. Hopefully everybody's excited for the big game. Between.
I mean, I've nearly finished Monster Hunter, so I know you got Horizon in a couple of days.
Yeah. I'm
Is
trying
that
to
the big
figure
game?
out who's playing at the.
It's the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Los Angeles Rams.
I've heard the Rams.
Yeah, it's since the Bengals are just an Illinois team, so it's like it's up north.
I will do what I do every year. It'll be on in the background
Yeah. Yep.
while I constantly refresh YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Where is it?
It's so true, though. It's true. Well, whatever happens, let's get excited for the Super Bowl, everybody. There's going to be games. There's going to be things happening. Trailers. The hierarchy of power. The things going to happen with DC. It's going to be good. We'll see you all whenever we talk about that.
If he says that line in the trailer, I'm not watching that movie.
You know he's going to say it. Like, that's their
I'm not watching that movie.
Yeah. And apparently Americans eat a ton of pizza on that day.
What day? That anyone?
That's any day, Tristan.
No,
Are you even American?
No, apparently on Super Bowl Sunday, Americans eat the most pizza on that day specifically.
Oh. I guess I know what I'm gonna eat on Sunday. I'm gonna order some pizza. Get one of those. Go get one of those giant Costco pizzas that on Monday morning helps clog the toilet. That's always a good choice. Because those things, I don't know how much cheese they put on there, but good lord, it's like I'm eating cheese only. That's all I'm chewing on this thing.
I had a spicy vegan pizza not long ago. Did the exact same thing. Plugged the toilet.
Vegan pizza? What is?
Yeah, it was actually quite nice. Was that vegan pepperoni and jalapenos? No.
Pepperoni, probably good. Well, there we go. Everybody, let us know who you think's gonna win at the Super Bowl. The Bulls and the Rams, or whoever Tristan said. I'm not sure.
Is Tom Brady gonna win it again?
No, he's gone. He went home.
Mitch. We all know it's gonna be Brett Favre or whoever.
Who? I don't know American football people. I know Tom Brady, and that's it.
Jeff Gordon. Is that his sport? I'm not sure. I don't know sports.
Is Michael Jordan still playing the football?
I thought he was stuck in the Looney Tunes still. What? This is how out of tune I am. I'm just like, oh yeah, all right, here we go.
If they ain't driving around on some kind of wheels, I don't give a crap. No.
You like the NASCAR, bro?
Oh man, let's not go that far.
Yeah, no, that's terrible.
That's for the room temperature IQ people.
My wife's uncle watched NASCAR, and we were there one time, and and she's just like, this is like the worst thing ever, and he was like excited, and I'm just like, and he asked me, he was like, oh, do you like any of these driving sports? I was like, well, I like F1, and he was like, it's not a real driving sport. I was like, I'm not even gonna argue this one right now.
See, NASCAR is when people are like, it's just driving around in circles. It's like, no, that's NASCAR.
Yeah. Yep.
It's dumb. It's like, no, that's NASCAR. Like, every complaint people have about like motorsports, that's just NASCAR.
Wait, I've seen some of those NASCAR video games, and people get excited like, oh my god, I can't believe they have this arena in there. I'm like, bro, they're all the same. How can you tell the difference? Like, what? They all literally look identical.
You see, the banking on this 35-degree left-hand corner is 2 degrees higher.
Oh, sold. Sold.
Which in fairness is kind of that's a wild difference. Like.
I mean, it don't matter anyway, because I've seen the online play. Everyone just tries to make others crash so they can win the race.
Yep, that's every single racing game online. Yep.
That is how it works. Well, everybody, take care. We'll catch you next week. Go watch the sports ball.